to another episode of Polite as Fuck. We're jumping right in. We're PAF 103. It's gonna get old real quick. Happy Halloween. It's October, so it's Halloween. Thank God, finally. I've been waiting. But we're starting off with our top 10 Halloween costumes for this year. So I want to go first, and my first one is Moodang. That's who I want to be. That's who I want. I want to get a costume.
How?
I have no idea. My makeup, I'll spritz some water on myself to make myself
constantly wet.
dewy constantly. I'll add some rolls. I don't know how, but that's what I want. Make a little headband with little ears. Right?
I love that.
I've been dying to tell you this once we said we were going to talk about this.
I had no idea that was going to come out of your mouth. But that, if you don't do that for Halloween, I'm going to be really upset.
Okay, I'll start looking into it.
Yeah, I feel like you could, just get like a gray outfit.
Yeah, a gray outfit. I know. I'm like, that's perfect.
That is so cute. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I interpreted this prompt for us as like, okay.
Oh no.
I just need to preface with Halloween for me is not my favorite because I don't like how much time it takes to make costumes usually or how much money it costs to buy a good costume. So I feel like it's just stressful and then I'm never really stoked on my costume.
Yeah.
And so the costume that I've been the most in my life is a lifeguard. And I put that as my first one because that is my go-to. I've saved my lifeguard uniform for that exact purpose.
Yeah.
And it's easy.
I had to just when I thought of costumes, Moodang was the first thing that came to my mind.
No, I
but
love
on my list is also Wednesday because it's my go-to. Yeah. The only reason why I don't really have Wednesday bangs this year that much. As I literally just did my bangs. As you're
bangs.
looking at my face.
Just do the braids and that's fine.
I know.
Yeah. I think that's a good
That
one.
dress that I wore that time, that romper, I don't have anymore because it literally was up my fucking vag. I was like, I cannot wear this anymore. If I lift up my arms, I'm gonna split down the middle. I swear to God.
That actually is worse than a wedgie.
It is
it's
painful.
So painful and uncomfortable, and you
no,
can't
I'm not
stretch.
doing this. Yeah. I take a deep breath and I'm like.
Well, I think you can still do it if you wanted a little black dress.
Yeah.
My second one was another easy one. I was trying to think of what can I do? Queen of Hearts.
Ooh.
I feel I could literally make a tiny little crown, and it's more in the makeup.
Yeah.
And then you could just wear a red dress.
Yeah.
Obviously, I know she has the black and the whole thing, but I feel like people would still get the idea if I had a red dress on, a little crown, and some fun makeup.
Yeah. My next one is JoJo Siwa.
Ellie! What?
I just feel it would be so easy. I have all black, and I would just do the makeup and wear my hair, get a.
Wait, what photo of her are you thinking of?
I'm thinking of the rock star one where she's just that ugly dance that she does.
She makes me so uncomfortable.
I know. It's so hard for me to watch that interview or watch that dance. Do you know what dance I'm talking about?
I'm trying to look it up right now. Wait. Is this?
Yeah, it's that.
For the camera.
I can do that.
Wow. You are creative. These are good. That is crazy. I don't think I sent this to you because I didn't know you were on the JoJo Siwa side of the internet, but there was this video of this 50-year-old lesbian woman just rocking out by herself, but the mix of her music she was making was insane, and she looked exactly like JoJo Siwa, and it was JoJo in 40 years. And I was like, yes. Just at a restaurant.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Oof.
I know she gets bullied all the time, but I'm also girl, what
are you doing?
It's almost like she does things to be bullied. I don't bully her. I'm not a cyberbully. I just think judgmental things in my brain.
Yeah, so that's mine, JoJo Siwa.
Wow, you're killing it. Mine is not even comparable to Mudang or Jojo Siwa, but Inside Out, the little emotions, I feel like those would be really easy. Because you could just buy, like, a colored wig and then wear that color.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I'm sadness. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Whatever they are.
Sadness is the only one. I think it's joy.
Well, I know sadness has that, like, little turtleneck and, like, the blue pants.
That's so cute.
And I'm like, I could pull that off.
Yeah.
Like,
we need to see the second movie. As soon as it comes out on, like, Amazon or something, we should just buy it.
Yeah.
My next one is Princess Diana, throwback to my fall episode about legs.
Wow,
so I could just wear a crew neck and some biker shorts and tennis shoes, and that'd be that.
You know, it's crazy. I had Princess Mia from Princess Diaries on mine. Ooh. And her little iconic cover where she has the headphones on and the sunglasses and the crown. I'm like, easy. Like, really,
and
all
so cute.
So cute. Yeah. Maybe we should do that.
Yeah, that would be really cute.
Princess Diana and Princess Mia. I love that.
Yeah.
You're gonna need to do like a bob though, because doesn't she have a bob
maybe I could like tie my hair and like pin it back or something. I think she has shorter than a bob. I think it's like...
Yeah, it's like a little pixie cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Cut your hair just for Halloween.
Yeah, right.
What's your last one?
Is it... Oh, Ben Affleck with coffee. How he just like... Have you seen those pictures of he just looks so distressed and like is wearing like just like whatever he threw on?
Yeah.
And I just carry around Dunkin' all day. I'm like, that's such a vibe.
I love that idea. Did him and J-Lo get divorced?
I think so. He's fine as hell. I will gladly be stepping in. Dressed as him, apparently.
I think we talked about this. I don't think... Have you watched her documentary or whatever?
I cannot do that.
But when that scene of her talking about living in the Bronx or whatever.
I can't do it. Like,
her hair is like...
when she... I love, there's a clip, I don't think it's from her documentary, but like from when she goes to visit her old house and she walks by and the guy from her old house, like the homeowner now, is like sitting on the porch and she's staring out and I'm gonna butcher it, but it's so funny because the guy's like, who are you? And she's like, I'm J-Lo, like I used to live here. And he's like, oh, like has no idea who she is, and then she just keeps walking down the street. Like, I should find that. It was so funny.
Oh my gosh. The clips from that are crazy.
She's it
makes me cringe so hard. I don't think I could watch the whole.
I can't. I'm not even from the Bronx and I know it's wrong.
It's wrong.
It's just...
Yeah.
Tough
stuff. But I like that costume, Ben Affleck. My last one is kind of lame, but I was thinking of things that I have, and I have a little white dress, and I was like, oh, I could buy angel wings and be an angel, and that's easy.
Super easy.
Yeah.
And there's always, like, angel wings for, like, $5 on Amazon or Spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Boom. Halloween costumes.
Those are good. Yeah. I feel like those are all pretty easy DIY. You can pull most of it together with the stuff you have.
Mudang is
up
there, but, like, it flew into my mind, and I was like, oh, my God. I'm short. I'm a little round. Just little ears. I would just like love that.
That is definitely like the highlight of this year for me.
Right?
She was born.
Was my favorite experience I've had with you most like recently. Is walking into your room and you would have thought she was like on the dark web or something. The way she's trying to click out of this shit. She's literally Googling images of Mudang. Like, and it's like 10 o'clock in the morning. Fully should be doing work. And you're like, nothing. Don't look. And I'm like, is that Mudang? And you're like, she's just so cute.
I literally could cry. Just looking at all the photos. That was so funny though when you walked in.
It's hilarious. I was just, oh my god.
Oh, this was good.
Yeah,
I hope we inspired someone with that.
Yeah,
it inspired me to figure out a costume. Anyway, enough of the fun things. What are we talking about
enough
today?
Of the fun stuff. Let's dive into some heavy stuff. We have I don't know, should be interesting episode for you guys today. Talking about being an adult with divorced parents.
Adults when your parents get divorced.
Yes, and being an adult when your parents get divorced. And how that has affected our lives, and how that's like a little different than people that have experienced divorce if they're younger, and the things we've learned from it. So there will be eventually a good point to all of this, but that's going to be towards the end, so you have to stick around.
Buckle up.
Buckle up, buddy. So yeah, do you want to go first?
Well, mine happened after yours, but
that's true. I guess that is true. We
live parallel lives.
It is since the moment we met, quite honestly. I was 19 when, well, technically I think I was 21 when my parents actually got divorced. But I was 19 when they separated. And so at this point, like, I was already in college. I was away from the home, and then obviously my siblings were still there, and they were a little bit younger, so our experiences are different. And they separated, and I think it was hard because the kids were still at the house. Mm-hmm. There was only one of us or two of us that had like left the nest or whatever. And so I think that they kind of felt a little bit of an obligation to stay together. And so there was this like sense of being separated, but then also coming together. Like at some point they had separate living arrangements. Like my dad had an apartment, and then my mom had gotten another house. They moved out of the house that we were all living in. And then they were trying to make things work, so my dad left that apartment and came back to my mom's house. And then at that point, that was when, like, it was officially like, no, this is not going to work. My mom packed up everything, moved to Nevada, and my dad stayed in the Bay Area because he was still stationed there, still in the military. So all of this was happening when I was 19, and just a little bit of where I was at in life. I had just... when everything kind of like went down, because it was very like interesting going down situation of like what had sparked the separation. I had just came home for Christmas my freshman year. Mm-hmm. And then my second semester of freshman year is when things kind of started like really coming to light of just like family, and then kind of like what's going to happen next. And then I came home for like a few weeks after freshman year, and that's when like it was still so fresh that I ended up going and finding a job and then going back to school, and I went to school in Oregon. So I was really like, I used this time to really distance myself and put myself, because I was like, what I don't see doesn't affect me, kind of in that moment. So that's where I was at when that was happening.
Yeah, I feel like, so I was 22 when I was, like, told that they were getting divorced. But I actually had been, like, prefaced when I was still 21. Like, and I had thought, based on the conversation I'd had, that all my siblings and I were all going to find out together. Mm-hmm. But the way it had been like framed was like, it's probably gonna happen, but we're still gonna like try and make it work, and like we'll tell you guys if we do. So I feel like I was kind of just like waiting, and like I knew the secret that no one else knew, and then they never said anything, so I was like, they're making it work, I guess.
Yeah.
Fast forward, I get a text, I'm in Peru and they're getting divorced. I was like, cool. But I felt very similar. Like, obviously I was upset, but I was so, like, distracted. I was, like, trying to speak a different language in a whole different country. Like, when I was alone by myself, I could feel the feels about it. But honestly, I was, like... distracted and doing all the things. And it wasn't until I got home that I was like, oh, interesting. And they were still, if I remember correctly, like, they had said they were getting divorced, but they were still living together because they wanted to, like, do it for the kids, like, stay together. Mm-hmm. And from what I've witnessed and what I was, like, told, it was just, like, when there's so much tension between two people, I don't know that that's, like, beneficial for anyone.
No, because you can feel it. You can quite honestly taste it.
Yeah. Like, I don't think anyone wants to be there.
Yeah.
Like, my siblings didn't. I know I was just, like, I got back and I was trying to, like, be this, like, entertainer and, like, make sure everyone's distracted and happy. And it's, like, that's exhausting.
Yeah.
When you're not on it all the time. They eventually, like, part ways, get different houses. And then I feel like at that point is when because I was living at home for like that summer before I moved to San Diego, and I felt really sad, and I was like, if I, like, when I get married, like, if I have kids, we're never gonna have, like, the same family traditions we had. We're not gonna, like, it's gonna be navigating all these different houses and different timings, and, like, what if one of them moves to another state? Then I have to, like, you know. Like, just thinking about my future, and, like, obviously, when you're a kid, and I don't know, my siblings' experience are very different. Like, your parents get divorced when you're 8, and it's, like, sad or whatever, but I feel like you learn to navigate having parents in different places, and that's just life. For me, it was like, and I sometimes describe it as like, oh, I made it to college, like, I checked the box, I made it. Like, family sticking together, I don't have to deal with that. I'll have this, like, whole family for the rest of my life. And then you're like, oh, wait, no.
I definitely feel like I felt like that. I like stepped into that like space, and it was like, okay, done, don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't know, very interesting,
because it's like when you're not living at home anymore, you don't see things get worse or like separate or like distance happen more, or like you still have in your mind the same image of home, and it can be the same as like you still think of home how you do in high school, and then every time you come home for Christmas you're like, wow, so much has changed, like this isn't how it was, these people I used to be so close with aren't the same, and it is the same with your family.
Yeah,
a little bit.
I think I was also banking on my siblings to keep me updated, and I think sometimes like when really necessary they did, but it was like so sporadic, and so because there were like so many things happening, and it was like very like emotional time, that I would assume everything is fine, but then something, you know, it's just like tension, build up, something happens, and then I only get a message then. It just felt like when I was growing up, I was like, oh, I can handle all of these fires, I can put out these little fires here and there, I can put myself in the middle. And then once I left, I was like, oh, that's not really my responsibility. I don't really need to maybe deal with this or not. And then, you know, I just would find any excuse to just not really be at home, and college was that great excuse. And then I think from there, just kind of as we continue this conversation, like, I think it's important to start with how it kind of happened or how old we were and that point of our lives, because I think that really kind of like set an interesting foundation to how we entered like adulthood, like 18, 19, 20, like these are all very like a lot of changing, a lot of development, a lot of like trying to build like relationships outside of family and like build friends and build like solid, you know, people around us to have like your, you know, it's just, it was like really weird. And I think it has like impacted us in ways that I think we know, but are just like sometimes like not like wanting to look at or analyze all the time.
Yeah. For me too, like I also felt guilty that I got to experience having both parents together for milestones and things. Oh my.
Yes. All the time, dude. The guilt is so and it hits every time I go home.
Yeah.
Or any time that like that's so funny that you say that, because that should be on one of my like hardships, because like one of mine is just talking about any childhood memories. Like, and I know that you just experienced this going back home, but it's like, even with both, and it's not, and this is no dig whatsoever to my parents at all. I think it's just what happens.
Yeah.
And I just get a little uncomfortable, or maybe feel like second degree uncomfortable. Like if I'm telling a story or they're telling a story, I'm just like, are we okay with this? How much do I say? Is this a funny story? Is it not funny? Yeah. And like, I just don't know. And so, yeah, that one is for real, because then it's like the guilt of like, oh, remember we all went for like Ellie's graduation dinner, let alone they can't even fucking sit next to each other at Sophia's graduation. It's like,
Yeah, because it's like you got all those big milestones as a kid and your siblings won't get that. But it's also like a thing of, I think, of just being an oldest siblings, because even like coming home most recently or going home most recently, I'm like, we all had family dinner together every night. There were 7 of us. There was a lot of things going on. It was a big meal. We all sat down. We all had a thing. And now it's like just my brother.
Yeah.
So it's like even if my parents were still together, that would still be like, I feel sad for him.
Yeah, that's true.
He just doesn't get like
the big thing.
And it's like, it's just different. And he gets so many other perks or whatever, being the youngest. But I don't know. I just like when you have that like oldest sibling guilt, I guess, and then it's like amplified because you also had those things when parents were together.
Yep. Just some of my like, I think hardships with it is to kind of bring back to the point of what you were talking about at the beginning of the episode of like, I have so many more moments of nothing will be the same. Mm-hmm. Of just like, and I don't even mean that in like I wish things were the way they were, because I don't really necessarily mean that either.
Yeah.
I just mean like, it just won't be the same. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Or it won't be even like more of that. It won't be what I ever imagined it was going to be. Mm-hmm. And I just like think even as like you just have an idea of what your life is going to look like, and it gets stronger, deeper, and you're in a point like at 19, I was trying to make decisions that were going to impact my future, and I thought I knew what it looked like. Mm-hmm. And I think there's just a lot of times where it does like hit, and where I'm just like, oh man.
Yeah. Well, it's like, there's so much change in adulthood. Like, when you move away from home, your life is forever different. Yeah. Like, going to college is, like, the first big thing. But then it's, like, then you get a job, and it's, like, all these things that everyone's like, oh, when you're an adult. And it's like, yeah, whoop-de-doo. Now I have all these things. And then it's this added, like, thing that could have been a constant is now also changed.
Yeah.
So everything that you thought is different.
Yep.
Which is just
great.
A lot to navigate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my other hardships is, like, I think the frustration of lack of communication with parents, and I think that experience is something to bring up when we're talking about being an adult, because I think parents parents that get divorced with adult children don't really feel the like necessity to talk to each other because their child is already grown up. And I think that they kind of did that. Like, as soon as every kid got to the point where it was like the older the kids got, the separate they became. Mm-hmm. Because I just think that they felt like it wasn't necessary anymore. Like, when they first split up, even at the height of all of the like stress and emotion, I still feel like the communication was there, even if it was like for the sake of the kids. Like, at least they weren't like staying together. But then as soon as the kids got to a certain age, it was like, bye.
Yeah. Interesting. When you brought that up, I was thinking like communication with you, not like with each other.
I think that's different depending on the situation, though. Like, I think my situation, like, I spent a few months, like, not speaking to my dad. And then I think, I mean, that's one of the other things is, like, as far as changes and stuff, like, it definitely changed our relationship. Mm-hmm. But I just mean, like, to see and grow up watching your parents be parents, not only to you, but to your siblings, and having that consistent kind of communication. And then also, like, I wasn't dumb. Like, I had friends that had divorced parents. Like, especially being an adult, you can kind of see things and you're a little bit more aware of the world. So I knew it was possible to be in a situation that I was in and that my siblings were in, and it not be, like, it's fucking tough. I'm not saying that, but it not be, like, ugly, or, you know what I mean? And so when things did start to veer in that direction, I was kind of like, okay, like, this is a loss. This is a hardship. Yeah. And then this is now just a hardship of, like, what seems to be continuing, like, on and on. This is just, like, the new norm of, like, no real contact. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is tough.
That's really true. Because I do, to that point, like, kids that had divorced parents, I feel like a lot of what I witnessed is, even though the parents were divorced and maybe they had their new partner or whatever, they would still show up to sporting events together, still show up to things together a lot of the time. Yeah. So, like, now there's no excuse or no, like, reasoning for your parents to, like, be in the same space. Right. Or if there is, it's so rare that they, like, don't know how to navigate it. Right. So what I was thinking of when you said that is, like, I didn't talk to either of my parents for quite some time. A little while after they got divorced, because it was just getting really messy. But now when we, like, we're not a calling family that much. Like, I do try to call my parents, but it's not, like, daily.
Yeah.
And I text my siblings every day.
Yeah.
This is an excuse on my end, but it's like sometimes when I have a life update, I don't like having the conversation in 3 different places because it would be really great to just have it all with all the same people at the same time. And instead it's like, tell mom, tell siblings, tell dad. Then I'm on my phone trying to, like, have these different, and they feel like I'm spreading myself thin because it's just having 3 different side conversations about something, which, like, texting is obviously, like, a really awesome thing that wasn't around when our parents were kids, and, like, this is me just, like, leaning into how easy communication can be, but it also is just really annoying.
Yeah. It really is.
Like, sometimes I just don't even want to share updates because I'm like, I'd feel bad if I just texted one parent. So I'm just not going to say anything because I don't feel like I have the capacity to talk about it with everyone right now.
Yeah.
Which is shitty.
Yeah. I mean, I can kind of relate to that. I also feel like the things in my family spread like fucking wildfire. If I even think of something, everyone knows. Like, it's crazy. I do understand that. For me, it's just more so of, like, what information and how to tell a story, and, like, I don't know. That's exhausting.
Yeah. I think, though, as time has gone on, sorry, did you have more hardships you want to say?
No, that was good. That was it.
As time...
I've had enough hardships. Don't want to talk about it anymore, no.
Like, I just see how my parents have more room to maybe do things that they didn't in their marriage, or, like, they seem happier than they were. It's like, even though, yes, it was and is sad, and, like, that life that I had pictured isn't happening anymore, or whatever, and maybe they're dating people and that just, it feels weird, and it's like, that will never be my, like, step parent in any capacity. But I also am like, wow, you seem so much more free and, like, able to be yourself and willing to, like, discover new things, try new things, spend more time with people that you didn't before.
Oh, fully. That was on mine. Is like, I was able to see them grow up, and, like, I got the lesson that I'm learning is life doesn't end until it's not over until it's over. And just because, like, you're married, and, like, I had this thought of, like, when I was a kid of, you know, you grow up, you go to school, you meet your person, you get married, and the end.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's just not life, nor do I want it to be life. And so it is all around tough, and you can still have those things with a healthy marriage. But it just is, like, nice to see that, like, it doesn't, just because this doesn't work out doesn't mean, like, it's all a failure.
Yeah.
I don't really see it like that. And I think it just gave me a way better perspective on life.
I also think that, like, the time that I have with my parents is more intentional. Because it's like, I have to make dedicated time to go spend time with my mom and then also go spend time with my dad. And, like, it's a self-inflicted thing of, like, making sure it's pretty even. And, like, if I'm going to go do this thing, then I want to go do this thing with the other parent. But it is also very, like, planned out and intentional. Whereas, like, I do know coming home from college, because my parents were still together at the time, it was like, well, this is easy. It's convenient. Everyone's here. So if you're around, I'll hang out with you.
Yeah.
Type thing.
Yeah. Okay, can we talk about maybe how this has, like, impacted, like, our lives, like, outside of our parents? Like, how you've kind of seen it just, like, socially and, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah. Take it away. You can start.
I think that, I mean, I kind of already said this, but my first one was quality and relationship with parents. I mean, I have a very different relationship now with both my parents and when I did growing up. And I think that I know that evolves no matter what. Like, that's just part of life. But I think that I'm constantly having to, like, rewire my brain in the moment to, like, have a conversation with them. Because I want to make sure that I'm being, like, sensitive to the situation, which I've never had to do before. But I know we kind of already said that. So I can talk about my second one, which I think is very, you know, interesting, is dealing with, like, trust issues in my own relationships. And I think that I didn't really think that would be a thing, but I think that has, like, it is a thing and it's like playing a part, and I think I can pin it exactly to this.
Yeah. Well, I did have something to say to your first point, is like the rewiring, or like being cognizant of like what you're saying to each parent, and like making sure you're maybe not bringing something up that might like be sad for them. But also, I do feel like, and this has been years, I am way better about like setting boundaries now than I was like in the beginning, because I was like, like they are upset, they need someone to talk to, whatever. And now I like really had to draw a line of like, if you guys, whatever, we don't need to talk about it, but like I have rewired my brain in that way too, of like what I am comfortable talking with them about when it comes to like certain things.
It's true. I need to do that. I really do like say everything to filter.
But the trust piece, yes. I also like, when my parents, everything kind of blew up with them, like their divorce, I feel like was a build up. It was like already not working, and then more things happened, and then it was just like snowballed really quickly. And I was in San Diego when I feel like the peak of that was happening. I just moved down here. I was in a relationship that wasn't that great. I started a new job that was like very demanding, and then COVID happened. And so I feel like, yeah, I can like put blame on that situation, but I also feel like I used like work and my relationship, I like leaned into that more and was like, that was my coping mechanism when it wasn't healthy at all. And then I like dug myself into a grave of like, had no energy, was so depressed, had a panic attack, like I was literally thought I was dying, like what is going on? And then I work on myself, get into the dating field, and immediately I'm like, don't believe anything that you say.
Literally. Like, so true.
Yeah. So that's been years, because it was like, I feel like I finally got over all those things, and then was so guarded that I was like, no. Like, the moment I doubt anything, I'm like, nope, shut down, not doing it, because I don't want to go back, because I know what that was like.
Yeah. I still have, like, I mean, when it comes to my parents, I don't really have, like, not that trust is such a weird thing, but, like, for example, if, like, there will be some times where, like, my dad will have to go to, like, whatever conference or something, and he'll like have to fly out, and in my mind I'm like, is that really where you are? And like I won't ever like say it, and I don't think, but like that's always like a spark. Or like when my mom's telling a story, I'm like, is this really how it went down? Like there's always that kind of like little bit, even with family. And then I see that play out just like in real time of just like, I just don't trust people. And like when I try to get close to people and there's a little bit of insecurity flaring up, whether that's me or on them, or healthy or not healthy, a little bit of insecurity, and that first flare up is like, I don't believe you. Like, where, if it's like a where were you, or who was that, like anything is like a, it's not true. And I'm like, oh, that's so annoying. Why am I like that? Trying to figure
It's hard. Yeah.
I also think an impact is my view on marriage has changed. I do think that I was brainwashed a little bit just by the world of, I was that kid that was like, I want to meet my Prince Charming and get married. And I thought of the wedding, and I grew up and I kind of like, even at 15, 16, I was like, I don't really know if this is my vibe. And even if it is, I don't know if I want something like super traditional. Like, I know I'm not like that. And then, but I still believed in the concept of like a partner, a person to have forever. I'm gonna be honest with you, this is still something, same with the trust, like I just, the concept of marriage is laughable. Like just I don't know, you know. And I think that this has, I mean, this is why I feel like that.
Yeah. No, I also feel that way, and that's hard because it's like why do we need to, for me, I'm like, if we feel confident in our partnership, why do we need to like make it a bigger thing?
Yeah.
which is also a little bit like a hesitancy on me with children of like, you bring a child into this world. If that marriage doesn't work out, having experienced it, now you have a permanent person here that will keep you tied to them forever.
Yep.
And I don't know that I want that.
Yeah. And you can never predict. It's not, and I just don't know if that's something that I would want to even put on the line.
So, side tangent, I'm working with a financial planner right now to, like, figure out if I can, like, buy a house, whatever. I spiraled on the call with her the other day. I don't know if you heard me in my room.
No.
But I was like, I need to plan. I like to plan for worst case. I want to know that if I get married, if I have kids, and all of that goes to shit, that I'm not going to be fucked over, have to have 4 children to feed, not have had worked for the last 15 years.
Yep.
Like, I literally was just going down. She was like, why don't we just live life like that's not going to happen and just, like, do all the right things, and then if for whatever reason it does, you've done all the right things and you're fine. Instead of being
she handled
like,
that well.
Yeah. I was like, I need to go to therapy, okay? It's tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because that is my thinking. Is like, I need to be able to take care of myself.
Yep.
And support myself and not rely on anyone.
Yep.
But it's like, it is nice. I do want to be able to have that. I don't know that I can let myself fully have that.
Yeah.
Because I've seen what happens, I think, from my point of view when you do.
Yeah. For me, it's just, like, I think I have a really big struggle with trying to, like, get into, like, relationships. I just don't feel that the trust and this go hand in hand. Like, you can't have marriage without trust. Like, how am I going to, like, sign my life away if I don't trust you? And so I think I really have a hard time trusting people and making sure that they're genuine and, like, that they really mean what they're gonna do or say or what they want. And it's a struggle, and it's been tough.
Yeah. It's not easy, that's for sure.
I have another one of, like, I think that I have a struggle with taking sides. I think as a kid I was very, like, no, like, this is it. I was very headstrong, and I think I still am. I mean, that personality definitely hasn't gone away, but I do feel like as a child I was way more, like, I don't give a fuck, I'll say how I feel. And this, I think, just being an adult already and, like, watching my parents go through this and, like, still being able to, like, communicate and tell them, like, no, this is what he means when he says this, or no, this is what she means. I think I now see that playing a role, like, in my adult life now, like, continuing adult life.
Yeah, that's interesting. I definitely, like, sometimes I even annoy myself with, like, I get defensive and I'm like, why am I getting defensive? Like, why? Like, this isn't even, like, an argument. And they're, like, saying one thing and I'm like, well, what if this person, this didn't even happen with my parents the other day. Someone, like, a clearly unhoused person was walking on the side of the road at, like, 11 at night. And I was with Mr. Force.
Mr. Force.
And his friend. And he was like, what is, like, why are they pushing a baby stroller at 11 at night? Like, what is going on? And I was literally like, well, you don't know what their day has been like. What if they have to walk all the way to work and they're just now walking back? And, like, clearly this person was, like, not well.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know why I'm, like, making this whole argument for them.
Yeah.
When it's, like,
let it go.
doesn't
It
matter.
doesn't matter. It's just a comment. It's just, like, you don't need to, like, I know. Literally, that's my next one. Caregiving. Because I just have this need to, like,
yeah.
Are you sure? Like, I'd be on the other, like, devil's advocate all the time.
I think, honestly, maybe within the last year, and I've been going to therapy for at least 3 years now, like, I still get very anxious, and this is not perfect, and I feel like I've always been very cognizant of other people and their feelings, and I think for them, and it's a thing that I'm still working on. But I also am like, I cannot live someone else's life. And I think that has been like a big thing for me is like, if I go home and they don't want to do something, or, you know, they already have plans to do another thing, and it's like, it doesn't matter that I'm home, or they want to invite someone over, whatever. Whatever.
You're chill.
You live your life. I'm also living my life, and that's fine. And it's obviously not perfect, and I'm not that way all the time, but I do, like, my anxiety, I feel like, has gone down in the last few years because of that thinking, which is hard, I think, when you're an oldest sibling, of, like, wanting to, like, keep the peace and caregive and, like, navigate everyone's feelings for them, when it's like, I can't help someone that doesn't want to help themselves. And I'm not saying that that's them, but I also can't, like, make someone's life decisions for them.
Yep. No, I totally get that. I mean, I think that you want to, and then you get to a point where you're just like, I can't, so why am I going to waste my energy?
Yeah.
And, like, this is their life.
Yeah.
Which is a good lesson.
It's a hard one.
Yeah. I'm going to pause it, and then we can stop it or whatever. And then we can go right into lessons.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. I also, like, when I go to edit these episodes, that I do, immediate cutout. It is so fucking annoying. I do that every time. I just, like, if I'm just collecting my thoughts, just be silent. Why do I have to vocalize it? The first lesson that I had when I was just thinking about it was what we just said about, like, watching our parents grow up and just how, like, life isn't over until it's over. This is their first time, like I said before, this is their first time walking through life. Like, they do not have all the answers, and I don't have all the answers, so why am I, like, so upset at them for, like, you know, I do kind of, like, find myself being, like, especially with my mom, just being like, like, how do you not know that? Like, and I have, like, walk away, and I'm like, why am I such a bitch? That's not even bitch, that's cunty. Like, why are you such a cunt, Ellie? Stop. So, that's a lesson I'm trying to learn.
That's a good one. This is their first time walking through life, and also, they're getting older. And when, like, it's like, regardless of if your parents are divorced or not, you see them so much less when you moved out, and then you go home and visit, and then, like, you notice different things, because it's like 6 months ago you didn't look that way, or you didn't, like, say those things, or you weren't slower in this way, or whatever. And it's, like, very small, but you do notice them, and so it's like you already have less time with them, because now you're dividing time between the two of them, and they're different spaces, and now you have even, like, you have this thing of how far along they are in life, and, like, the time is so limited that you want to just, like, all right, is this really worth picking a fight right now? Is this really worth, like, bringing up, being rude? That's not to say, sometimes it just happens, and like you said, you walk away and you're like, what the heck? Why did I do that?
Yeah.
But I do catch myself more and more of, like, take a deep breath and let's just move on, and, like, try not to get irritated by things, because we don't live by them. It's not like we're having dinners with them once a week or whatever. Like, it's so much less even than my siblings. Like, they all still live nearby, and I think see my parents way more than I do.
Yeah.
So,
you saying that makes me think of, like, how different it is for me and my siblings, because my siblings are younger and they experienced it. They're at the phase of, like, setting boundaries. They are very harsh. They are not afraid to be like, I'm not doing that, or set, like, and I don't know if it's boundaries or not. Sometimes I'm like, this seems more like, but whatever, we won't get into that. they're very much like hard. If you say something, I'm walking out. I will not even start an argument, but like I'm gonna walk away and not participate in this family activity because now my feelings are hurt. And I am a little bit of a different generation where I'm like, you better get your ass out here and do this family thing, like the fuck. And then the second one is like, just take a deep breath and let it go. Like this is, you don't have that much time, but like they're just not there yet. And I have like, that's you saying that is like kind of a little bit of a realization of like, fuck. Yeah. Like, I just think it takes to get to this point to realize, like, yeah, time is so limited. This isn't going to last forever. So how are you spending your time here?
Yeah.
My other lesson, which is a tough one, but, like, I think that being in this situation has taught me that people are people, and even if people fuck up really, really bad, it's not, they still deserve love. That doesn't mean that, and I don't mean like people can take that and really spin it, but I just think that, at least in my case, that when I really love someone, that I was willing to like forgive things and mistakes that happen, and also kind of like see my parents as human beings. Obviously, this is not for somebody that's like, you know, something really bad happens and you're ready to cut them out. Teach their own. I understand that, but I think that a lesson for me is just like, people make mistakes and that's okay. Do it all the time.
Yeah. I think it's also like, it's not okay, but like you can still love them. Yeah. And like still want to have a relationship with them if that is something that you want. And it's like holding on to resentment and being angry with them only hurts you more than it hurts them. Like trying to, especially when you don't live there. Like I just remember for months I was just so upset and angry and like didn't want to talk to them, and like I was miserable. And then it was like reaching out and being like, I want to have relationships with you guys. Here's what I need in order to do that. Like, let me know if that's the thing we can do. And obviously, like, you're their kid and this is my situation, but like they love me and want to have a relationship with me, and it's like, all right, let's like work on that and like make that happen. And that like doesn't necessarily mean that I think what happened was okay or that it went down in the best way, but I like true. Yeah, it's
definitely not okay. I just mean more so like mistakes can be made. It just makes me feel more like seeing them as a human being, and also way less hard on myself, because growing up I think I saw my parents as these like superheroes, and like really like I really have to like live up to their standards, and like obviously I want to make my parents proud and I still feel that way, but it humanized them a lot, and like definitely not okay, but also people make mistakes, and I was still willing to give them my love, and I still wanted to. So I just had to let some stuff go in order to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think seeing them as human is a big thing. Yeah. It's like, it really makes you understand what unconditional love is. Oh, fully. It's like you say that, and then something happens, and then you're like, do I still love you? But it's like, yeah, obviously, and it's unconditional, and I'm still hurt, but like I love you, and yeah.
Like I think that, you know, my mom and I's relationship would not be this strong if we didn't go through everything that we went through, because we had to have like really tough conversations. And then I think of even my dad, it's like we would not be where we are now if things didn't happen the way that they happened. And I think that they love me because I was able to like, set some boundaries and do some things and just kind of like let go of it. Yeah.
I love that.
Wow.
That's a lot. There's a lot more I can say, but I'm like, I think that's good for now. I think those are the biggest like hardships and lessons, and obviously it's like going to continue to evolve, and I think if either of us have children, it's like navigating that is going to be a whole other thing.
Definitely.
But I am like at terms with where things are, and I think that to that point, like things do get better. If you're experiencing this right now, like, if it's fresh, there is a light.
At the end of the tunnel.
At the end of the tunnel. It's like it will never be the same, but you learn to fall in love with the beauty of the change and, like, what it is now.
Yeah.
So.
Definitely.
We're fading into the dark, so we're going to close it out. Follow us on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Pilates Book Podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.